Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, right? I don't know the time you are watching this video. I am recording this class for you because um I am doing some couple of activities um just at the university and I don't have time today, right, for staying with you. That's why this video recorded will be pasted on our platform. You can watch it, right? We will be working on this book. As I said before, I got the material for improving our listening. What you have to do is to work hard to do it. As you can see during the class, right? I will be playing some scenarios, videos, and then you have to complete it. So if you have, for example, your notebook besides you right now, that could be okay because you will be working hard. If you will be using your notebook, please scan the pages, right, or sheet of paper, and then put those scanned papers on a digital document, Microsoft Office document, and upload it to our platform, right, for having evidences that you have been attending the class. This is very important because you are only four or five students. No, I'm not sure really well, but the thing is, I am taking the attendance list, right, because our English coordinator is demanding me that I have to send this attendance list to him. So I need you to please watch the class, participate in every activity, complete every activity properly, and practice, right? Because if you practice, when you practice, you may master. But if you don't like practice, right, your English is not gonna be like increasing. Okay. So the name of this unit that I want you to finish with me today is "Say It Your Way." I like it, right? It's very interesting, pretty interesting. You see here, it says, did you find it easy to express yourself orally? In many cases, right, students find it very difficult to express, right? Not only students, but everyone, I think. I got a lot of experience in teaching. I have been working in this, right, for more than 10 years. But if you ask me, right, in many cases, you feel like a vocabulary or you feel like a words spread yourself to others, I will be probably telling to you, yes. Um, is not it is something that we cannot say I am the best one, I am know how to speak words. No. In many occasions you will be in a position of I don't know what to say. Right? Especially when you need to establish or pick up a conversation with a new group. When you are having this right, you are like people, I don't know where they are, who they are, where they are coming, how they are living, many things, right? So the first thing or the first idea in your mind is like, hey, I need to pick up a conversation, but I don't know how. Many cases. Then you have saying in your own way, right? Well, say it your way is like you have to do what you have to do in many occasions. You have to, for example, right? If you are in a class and then you know the answer, raise your hand, say the answer. But in many times, students, right, or people, right, don't want to express themselves because they are like, my classmates, co-workers, people around me will be criticizing me. And if you are like stopping yourself because of this, you will be there every time, right? Every moment. You are not gonna be like crossing that line. But when you say, doesn't matter if I make mistakes, it doesn't matter if I don't say something correct. I will be expressing myself. So you will be improving suddenly, and then you will be a different person. Okay, so we are starting our class in this one. We have a lot of activities in here for listening, for improving our listenings. I want you to stay here, right, for it. So it says in here, before you listen, emoji and emoticons. I know you like it. You can see. So this is the way we express ourselves, right? Smile, happy. fancy, think, and love me, right? So you can see in these ones, in these emojis, right? You're using it to express yourself, texting with your friends, girlfriends, or boyfriend, right? Every single day. You are like sending these to others because you want to demonstrate something. You want to demonstrate how you are feeling. Even though in many cases you are not feeling like happy, but you send it because you want just to demonstrate it. You don't want that others discover you, right? So this is maybe the idea for this, right, for emoticons. But we have to move right now to this one. So pick up a sheet of paper because we will be working a lot. I need you to study the vocabulary, translate the vocabulary, and memorize the vocabulary. Okay, I will be including all the vocabulary you have been studying with me for our midterm exam number 1. So please study the vocabulary. As you can see, all the words in bold, bold means negritas, all the words in bold are part of the vocabulary, and you need it. So please pay attention to it.
Part 1, page 25. Exercise C. Vocabulary.
A. Thousands of years ago, before there were any written languages, our human ancestors used pictures and symbols to communicate. Even with just simple symbols and pictures, they managed to communicate complex messages.
B. In addition to spoken language, all human beings also use body language to help them get across their ideas. The use of body language, which includes both gestures with your hands and facial expressions, such as a smile, is universal.
C. English has a lot of compound words for weather. 2 examples include sunlight, sun plus light, and snowstorm, snow plus storm.
D. In informal conversation in English, reductions are quite common. For example, be going to sounds like gonna, and have to sounds like have to.
E. With the internet, it is easy to spread information from one side of the world to the other in just minutes.
Okay, okay, guys. So you have heard right the correct pronunciation for every vocabulary in here. What you must be doing is translating every single word, memorize the word, and complete the following activity. To complete it, right? You need to do it. You will be using the vocabulary above to complete this one. You can do it on your notebook. Wait a minute, I will put in this one here so you can watch very well this. So right now you have this activity. This is the first activity that you are doing today. Completed, completed. So now you get the vocabulary here. Screenshot the vocabulary, whatever you want. Here you have the vocabulary. Then using the vocabulary or the words in bold, put all those in bold in the space in blank in here. Use your notebook, scan, right? Scan your notebook and put that scanned paper into a digital document or Microsoft Office document because you need to upload it later for evidences. Okay, moving to the next one. It says in here, communicate. Both this part, we're not going to be working in this part because it's about speaking. We need to move it to this one. And it says in here, listen for main idea. Remember that we have been working hard on the main ideas, right? It says read the statements, then listen to the podcast, check the 2 sentences that express the contrasting points of view that the podcast host wants her listeners to consider. So, number one, emoji and emoticons are less direct or direct. You can do it in both ways. Then written words. Emoji and emoticons help people to communicate better. Emoji and emoticons express universal human feelings. Emoji and emoticons are a harming written language. So check the 2 ones, right? Okay, 1, 2, and 3.
Page 27. Exercise E.
Wait a minute. Just let me see. Oh, you can watch the video or you can. So, Watch the video. It's better. Wait a minute.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Communicating in the 21st Century. Our topic today is how using emoticons and emoji in texting, tweeting, and instant messaging is affecting the way we communicate. Go to our website if you'd like to see some of what I'm going to describe. First, let's make sure everyone understands the terms emoticon and emoji. The word emoticon is a combination of two words, emotion and icon. An icon is a type of symbol, such as a drawing of a heart broken into two pieces to mean heartbroken. Emoticons express both feelings and ideas in online communication. As far as we know, a computer scientist named Scott Fahlman invented the first emoticon in 1982. You're probably familiar with it. It's a smiling face on its side. So, as you can see from this early example, emoticons are simple pictures made from punctuation or other non-letter symbols. Emoji, on the other hand, are small cartoon-like pictures of just about anything, from a doghouse to a watermelon. The word emoji is a Japanese word and is similar to a compound word in English. That is, a combination of two words to make one word, such as basketball or sunlight. The first character is E, which means picture, and the second one is moji, which means character. Why the Japanese word? Because the first emoji were invented in Japan. At the end of the 1990s, a Japanese mobile network wanted to attract more teenage customers. So an employee, Shigetaka Kurita, and his team invented 176 characters and made them available for use in instant messages. These playful characters, or emoji, became immediately popular with the Japanese, who, at least according to author Motoko Tamamoro, often feel more comfortable using indirect ways to get their ideas across, especially when sharing their feelings. It seems that the desire to express our feelings through pictures is universal, however, because emoji quickly spread all over the world. But emoji and emoticons can express much more than feelings. There are emoji animals, plants, weather, and food, among many others. We can put them together to make an emoji sentence. And a lot of emoticons are much more complex than just a smiling face. Thus, people often use emoji and emoticons to replace the written word. And that brings us to our discussion topic for today. How are emoticons and emoji affecting communication? Some say that this use of pictures is a sign that we are losing the ability to communicate complex ideas. They point out that our ancestors used pictures to communicate thousands of years ago, before the invention of writing. From this point of view, then, emoji and emoticons are like pictures scratched on rocks and are a step backward to an earlier time, before the invention of writing. But there are also strong supporters of emoji and emoticons. They argue that rather than taking something away from written language, emoji and emoticons improve it. How? They compare emoji and emoticons to facial expressions, such as raising your eyebrows, and gestures, such as shrugging your shoulders. They believe that emoji and emoticons add meaning to the written word or even change a word's meaning completely. Thus, they argue, emoji and emoticons are a step forward. Still, other people argue that texting, instant messaging, and tweeting are not really written language at all. They are much closer to oral conversation. Abbreviations such as the letter U for the pronoun you are similar to the natural reductions of informal speech, for instance, gonna for be going to. So what do you think? Are emoji and emoticons like word-eating locusts that will end up killing the written word? Or are they more like honeybees that pollinate our writing and allow us to grow our ideas and spread them over large distances? To join the conversation, call, text, or tweet us at...
Okay, we have already finished in watching this one, as you can see, right? I hope you like it, right? I hope you like it. So guys, now with that podcast, right, you will be completing this activity, the one that I am pointing right now, and the second one, letter G. Do letter G because it is the same one, right? It says listen for detail, read questions, listen the podcast once again, right? And put the question in the order podcast host. So this is not difficult. Use your notebook and keep working, right? Remember, this is about practice. The listening part, the listening skills is about practice. If you practice your listening, if you listen a lot, if you have these activities and you complete activities, you will be improving. But if you are not listening, if you are not completing the activity, and you need just information, right? Just listening from any ideas. Listening from any ideas is about this. Um, Let me see. Short conversation is about, short conversation is about two people that speak about daily spoken language. No, this is just general information, but what you need is practice. Practice this one because in this way you will be improving. Okay, moving to the next page. For a minute, because we have a lot of things to do today, believe me. Okay, you had this one on your notebook, right? Using your notebook. It says, listen to the segment on the podcast, pay close attention to the explanations of the words and terms. So what you will be doing in here is to pay attention. You will be working on segment 1, segment 2, and segment 3. Okay? Screenshot if you want. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So I think this in this way is better. Okay, one. Oh, wait a minute. My camera. 1, 2, and
Page 28. Exercise H. Segment 1.
As far as we know, a computer scientist named Scott Fallman invented the first emoticon in 1982. You're probably familiar with it. It's a smiling face on its side. So, as you can see from this early example, emoticons are simple pictures made from punctuation or other non-letter symbols. Emoji, on the other hand, are small cartoon-like pictures of just about anything, from a doghouse to a watermelon. The word emoji is a Japanese word and is similar to a compound word in English. That is, a combination of two words to make one word, such as basketball or sunlight. The first character is E, which means picture, and the second one is moji, which means character.
Segment 2.
Some say that this use of pictures is a sign that we are losing the ability to communicate complex ideas. They point out that our ancestors used pictures to communicate thousands of years ago, before the invention of writing. From this point of view, then, emoji and emoticons are like pictures scratched on rocks and are a step backward to an earlier time, before the invention of writing. But there are also strong supporters of emoji and emoticons. They argue that rather than taking something away from written language, emoji and emoticons improve it. How? They compare emoji and emoticons to facial expressions, such as raising your eyebrows, and gestures, such as shrugging your shoulders. They believe that emoji and emoticons add meaning to the written word or even change a word's meaning completely. Thus, they argue, emoji and emoticons are a step forward.
Segment 3.
Still, other people argue that texting, instant messaging, and tweeting are not really written language at all. They are much closer to oral conversation. Abbreviations such as the letter U for the pronoun you are similar to the natural reductions of informal speech. For instance, gonna for be going to.
okay, we have already finished this one as well. You can, guys, if you want to play once again, to listen it once again, to complete it. Because I know, right, the vocabulary or the English language in this podcast or videos are not basic English, right? They are intermediate and advanced English language. So this is what you need, believe me. I need to keep working hard on it, right? I know that you are enjoying the activity because This is the way in which we improve. I remember when I was in the university and my teachers, I got two different kinds of teacher, right? The one that just presenting some ideas and concepts. For example, what is grammar? Oh, grammar is this. Okay. And that's it, right? Just vocabulary, concept, and concept. But what about the second one that showed to us activities, right? Practice. So I like it. It is better, believe me. When you practice, you improve. Keep this in your mind. Okay, continue. It says in here, this is another one. It says focus on the main points. Listen to the segment to the podcast to take notes under the questions, right? Only enough information to answer the questions, right? Do it. 1, 2, and 3.
Page 29. Exercise I.
Some say that this use of pictures is a sign that we are losing the ability to communicate complex ideas. They point out that our ancestors used pictures to communicate thousands of years ago, before the invention of writing. From this point of view, then, emoji and emoticons are like pictures scratched on rocks and are a step backward to an earlier time, before the invention of writing. But there are also strong supporters of emoji and emoticons. They argue that rather than taking something away from written language, emoji and emoticons improve it. How? They compare emoji and emoticons to facial expressions, such as raising your eyebrows, and gestures, such as shrugging your shoulders. They believe that emoji and emoticons add meaning to the written word or even change a word's meaning completely. Thus, they argue, emoji and emoticons are a step forward.
Okay. As I said before, right, you can play it once again if you need more information about it. Okay, continue. So we have already finished this one, you can see. Page 29, right? Now we need to move to this one. We got this pronunciation, but we're not going to be working on pronunciation. We have to move to this one, to this page. Wait a minute. And yes, it is this one. I want you to watch this one. Okay, what I need you to do is to pay attention. This one, you can do it without listening, right? You can do it. This is just vocabulary. I need you to please pay attention to the vocabulary in this part. But right now, what I want you to work on it is in these ones, in these two. I need you to complete these two, right? It is about, let me see. No, it is about this one and letter E and letter F, right? Wait a minute. Letter E, letter F. Okay. Okay, in this way. Yeah. Okay. This is the last activity. In this one, what you must be doing is paying attention to the video to complete this activity. This is the last thing you will be doing. I know, a lot of activities, right? It will be demanding to you a lot of time, you know.
I'm a lexicographer. I make dictionaries. And my job as a lexicographer is to try to put...
No, wait a minute. I need to move to this one here. I think in this part is appropriate. In this part. So sorry for it. Once again.
I'm a lexicographer. I make dictionaries. And my job as a lexicographer is to try to put all the words possible into the dictionary. My job is not to decide what a word is. That is your job. Everybody who speaks English decides together what's a word and what's not a word. Every language is just a group of people who agree to understand each other. Now, sometimes when people are trying to decide whether a word is good or bad, they don't really have a good reason, so they say something like, because grammar. And I don't actually really care about grammar too much, don't tell anybody. But the word grammar, actually, there are two kinds of grammar. There's the kind of grammar that kind of lives inside your brain, and if you're a native speaker of a language or a good speaker of a language, it's the unconscious rules that you follow when you speak that language. And this is what you learn when you learn a language as a child. And here's an example. This is a wug, right? It's a wug. Now there is another one. There are two of these. There are two wugs. Exactly. You know how to make the plural of wugs. That rule lives in your brain. You never had to be taught this rule. You just understand it. This is an experiment that was invented by a professor at Boston College named Jean Berko Gleason back in 1958. So we've been talking about this for a long time. Now, these kinds of natural rules that exist in your brain, they're not like traffic laws. They're more like laws of nature. And nobody has to remind you to obey a law of nature, right? When you leave the house in the morning, your mom doesn't say, "Hey, honey, I think it's gonna be cold. Take a hoodie. Don't forget to obey the law of gravity," right? Nobody says this. Now, there are other rules that are more about manners than they are about nature. So you can think of like a word is like a hat. Once you know how hats work, nobody has to tell you, don't wear hats on your feet. What they have to tell you is, can you wear hats inside? Who gets to wear a hat? What are the kinds of hats you get to wear, right? Those are more of the second kind of grammar, which linguists often call usage as opposed to grammar. Now, sometimes people use this kind of rules-based grammar to discourage people from making up words. And I think that is, well, stupid. So, for example, people are always telling you, be creative, make new music, do art, invent things, science and technology. And then when it comes to words, they're like, no. Creativity stops right here, whippersnappers, give it a rest. But that makes no sense to me. Words are great. We should have more of them. I want you to make as many new words as possible. And I'm going to tell you 6 ways that you can use to make new words in English. The first way is the simplest way. Basically, steal them from other languages. Linguists call this borrowing, but we never give the words back, so I'm just going to be honest and call it stealing. We usually take words for things that we like delicious food. We took kumquat from Chinese. We took caramel from French. We also take words for cool things like ninja, right? We took that from Japanese, which was kind of a cool trick because ninjas are hard to steal from. So another way that you can make words in English is by squishing 2 other English words together. This is called compounding. Words in English are like Lego. If you use enough force, you can put any 2 of them together. We do this all the time in English. Words like heartbroken, bookworm, sandcastle, all are compounds. So go ahead and make words like duckface, just don't make duckface. Another way that you can make words in English is kind of like compounding, but instead you use so much force when you squish the words together that some parts fall off. So these are blend words, like brunch is a blend of breakfast and lunch. Motel is a blend of motor and hotel. Who here knew that motel was a blend word? Yeah, that word is like so old in English, lots of people don't know that there are parts missing. Edutainment is a blend of education and entertainment. And of course, electrocute is a blend of electric and execute. You can also make words by changing how they operate. This is called functional shift. You take a word that acts as one part of speech and you change it into another part of speech. Okay, who here knew that friend hasn't always been a verb? Yeah, friend used to be a noun, and then we verbed it. Almost any word in English can be verbed. You can also take adjectives and make them into nouns. Commercial used to be an adjective, and now it's a noun. And of course, you can green things. Another way to make words in English is back formation. You can take a word and you can kind of squish it down a little bit. So, for example, in English, we had the word editor before we had the word edit. Edit was formed from editor. Another way to make words in English is to take the first letters of something and squish them together. So the National Aeronautics and Space Administration becomes NASA. And of course, you can do this with anything, OMG. Why should you make words? You should make words because every word is a chance to express your idea and get your meaning across. And new words grab people's attention. They get people to focus on what you're saying, and that gives you a better chance to get your meaning across. And a lot of people on this stage today have said, in the future, you can do this, you can help with this, you can help us explore, you can help us invent. You can make a new word right now. English has no age limit. Go ahead, start making words today, send them to me, and I will put them in my online dictionary WordNik. Thank you so much.
We have watched this tech talk, right? This was our tech talk, and what I want you to do is to complete these two activities, right? So guys, I have recorded this class for you. I know you have a lot of activities to do, right, during this class. You have to watch the class, right, if you want to complete the activities. So have a nice day, right, and see you later.